Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, and welcome to my Tuesday Trauma Talkin' 10. And today we are going to be talking about beginning a Glimmers journey. So, first, let me introduce myself. My name is Bonnie Barclay, and I am a therapist in Knoxville, Tennessee, and owner of Creekside Counseling and Wellness. So feel free to grab something to write with, to take some notes, or jot down anything that resonates with you. And also be sure to check out my posts on Instagram or Facebook. I try to put some more information on there that is really geared toward each trauma talk. So, what are glimmers? Glimmers are the opposite of triggers. And the word trigger is something I think all of us are more familiar about. It's a word that's more known both in the day to day, and I've discussed kind of triggers and what they are in other Facebook Lives that I've done. So let's unpack this word glimmer or glimmers. So, this was first coined by Deb Dana, who is a therapist, trainer, author, and she talks about how finding glimmers is all about tapping in to those moments of ventral vagal energy. And that is part of our nervous system when we feel calm, confident, connected, and grounded in the present moment. So, Deb Dana talks about how we're meant to really fluctuate between different nervous system states, different feelings with flexibility. And it's when we get stuck in that survival state, that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and can't access the safe and connected place, that we need help learning to shift back into ventral vagal state, that place of calm or confidence. So, we've talked about this before, but I want to review that, our nervous system is designed to scan for threat. This can be helpful and even life saving depending on, you know, the problem or the situation. The problem is that we can get stuck in a place of hypervigilance, constantly bracing or being on guard. So, John Gottman talks about this in his work with couples when they get stuck in that negative sentiment override. And when we start to kind of get in that tense place with our partner, we tend to see more negatives than positives. And he begins to challenge couples to make a shift to that 5-to-1 ratio where we start to look for five positives for every negative. So, what happens when we do this? It really starts to shift things in the relationship. And then from that, their system begins to look for positives more frequently just by habit. Well, the autonomic nervous system is shaped by early experiences and can be reshaped with ongoing experiences. The good news is that habitual response patterns can be interrupted and new patterns can be created, just like Gottman observed with couples. In a state of protection, survival is the only goal. The system is closed to connection and change. In a state of connection, we have the ability to grow, there's health, and restoration is possible. So, befriending the nervous system is learning to tune in and turn toward autonomic state and story with more curiosity and self compassion. So, because of this state of protection, trauma survivors can have difficulty identifying places of safety or calm. It can even be anxiety provoking to consider moving out of that hypervigilant state where they're on alert or bracing, kind of waiting for the next shoe to drop. Because survivors are prone to these pathways of protection rather than pathways of connection, they live in that survival state instead of the thriving state. So many of my clients learn to avoid their inner life as a way of surviving. As a result, part of therapy is helping my clients slowly touch into a moment, perhaps between us in session, that's just okay, maybe even pleasant. Helping clients harvest real time moments, both in and out of sessions, gives them an opportunity to discover that they can tolerate those inner experiences with help in a way that they couldn't before. So, glimmers refer to small moments when our biology is in a place of connection or regulation, which cues our nervous system to feel safe or safe enough or calm. Just as trauma shaped the nervous system towards a place of hypervigilance or scanning for threat, these micro moments begin to shape our system in very gentle ways. So, glimmers aren't just tiny moments that bring us joy or happiness, they can also spark ease, relaxation, again, safety, connection, or a feeling that the world is really okay, even for a fleeting moment. This is not about avoiding or invalidating triggers by engaging in toxic positivity. It's about moving out of a stuck place so there's more nervous system flexibility. It's about befriending the nervous system rather than your system simply hijacking you where you feel more out of control. So, as Dana says, it allows you to understand that your biology is wired in a way that we don't discount the trauma or the crisis or the ongoing suffering, but we recognize that your biology is exquisitely set up to be able to also notice the micro moments of goodness. Noticing these glimmers gives our system a break and increases flexibility between these feeling states and nervous system states. There are times we need to regulate, to call on this flexibility when we need our emotions to go down and our logic to go up. The goal is not to get rid of triggers entirely, but to move out of a place of judgment regarding the things that we find triggering and our response to this trauma. As you begin to see a glimmer, you will likely begin to look for more. That's your nervous system beginning to shape toward the patterns of connection that are inherently waiting inside of us. Remember, we're wired for connection. Sometimes we just need to learn to access it again. Sometimes people don't want to feel them because they know those emotions won't last, those glimmers, those good moments, that feeling of waiting for the other shoe to drop. And for many of my clients and trauma survivors, it did drop. Some might feel guilty for feeling good during a hard time in their lives. Try to enjoy them while they last. This can take time, so be patient with yourself. Glimmers can be found in different places and experienced through different senses. So let's go through some examples. In nature, admiring your garden, seeing the stars in the sky, watching the sun rise or set, cool breezes, pulling in your different senses as tolerated, and knowing how that shows up in your body. For me, just taking a step onto the beach or a hike in the woods, it just has an overall calming impact on my body. Noticing someone's smile or the calming sound of someone's voice. Time with the furry friends. A favorite song coming on the radio. Some of my clients make different playlists for the different glimmer responses they want to evoke, whether that be calm or even confidence. Moments of solitude. And I want to make note that a moment of solitude is different from isolation. Solitude is a chosen moment of time alone. The smell of fresh sheets on a bed as you crawl in. Smells can be so powerful. Playing a game with friends and family and feeling that connection. Snuggling in and putting on some comfy clothes. You are in a glimmer when you feel something happen inside, a shift. Like I said, I get this every time I step into the mountains or step onto the beach. You'll begin to notice it and your brain will mark that too. So, the hard truth for today, for many people, finding a glimmer is a challenge. If you are a trauma survivor, start small. It can be hard to step out of hypervigilance and other survival skills. Remember, these do not have to be these big moments. Small moments, if even neutral, are a good place to start. Noticing even fleeting moments will have a good long-term impact. So the takeaway for today, I want to invite you to set what Dana calls glimmer intention. You may decide, I'm going to look for one glimmer before lunch, or you can also keep a glimmer journal to write down what you discovered and reflect at the end of the day. Asking yourself, are there specific glimmers that help you regulate? Are you experiencing triggers, and certain glimmers help to regulate with those specific triggers even? So one of the things that I did in closing is this summer I put a wind chime outside of my office, and it's just some soft shells so they aren't really loud or distracting. But just even that noise sometimes brings that sense of calm and peace in a moment that I imagine the wind blowing through those, and that noise resonates with me. So again, keep it simple and just try and track those moments that bring that calm, and can you pair them in some way to help you regulate more often? Are there people that really bring that connection and calm and co-regulate you, as I've talked about before? Write those people down. It can be helpful to have a menu of those glimmers and those moments that bring you that calm and confidence or peace or whatever it is you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you were able to get something from our talk, and I will see you soon. Thanks again. Bye.